Congratulations! You've just made the same mistake humans have been making for thousands of years. Believing life only gives you two options. From the moment we're born, society has been forcing us to pick a side. Be right or be wrong. Win or lose. Belong or be an outcast. But what if that's the biggest lie of them all? Because you see, life is not a coin toss. It's not a courtroom with only guilty or innocent. Life is complicated and it's layered. And yet, here we are, still shrinking it down to binaries, still pretending it all fits into neat little boxes. And that right there is the trap. Binary thinking doesn't expand our world, it cages it. And unless we break out of it, we'll never discover the truth, hiding in between. The truth that the history's greatest thinkers, rebels, and creators all knew. Real possibility begins beyond right and wrong. Sure, it might feel safe for you to fit in, to pick the side society tells you is right. Get the right grades, say the right things, choose the right career, stay in the right lane. But safety has a price. Every time you choose between only two options, you kill 1,000 other possibilities. In school, they tell us to aim for the highest grades, the most medals, the perfect resume, as if excellence can be graphed. The higher the score, the better the person. But grades don't measure curiosity or creativity. They reward the ability to follow the rules, to color inside the lines, to give the answer everyone expects. And so, without realizing it, we start equating success with obedience. We stop asking, what do I love? And we start asking, what will get me an A? And that isn't education, that's conditioning. And it doesn't stop when we leave school. It follows us into everything we do. We think that the world keeps rewarding those who fit in and who play by the rules. That's how binary thinking gets under our skin, quietly, until it becomes the voice in our very own heads. Binary thinking whispers, fit in or be an outcast, and so you silence yourself. It says win or lose, and so you stop taking risks. It says right or wrong, and so you stop asking the only question that truly matters. What else could be true? And social media thrives on binary thinking. Thumbs up, thumbs down, agree, disagree, like, dislike. Flying? Humans can't fly. Wrong. Earth at the center of the universe? Absolutely right, until it wasn't. Your phone, which can summon pizza at 3 a.m. with a single tap? Totally impossible. Until someone refused to pick up between yes it can and no it can't, and instead asked, what if? In businesses, companies that insisted on doing things the right way often got disrupted by startups that said, let's try something new. Binary thinking breeds conflict. Wars, politics, culture clashes, they're all fueled by we're right, you're wrong. And most dangerously, binary thinking blinds us to change. What's right today may be wrong tomorrow. A few months ago, I saw a post online that sparked a huge debate. Someone shared a video of a famous chef criticizing students who ordered complicated customizations at restaurants, like adding extra toppings or swapping food ingredients. In the comments, half the people were furious, calling the chef rude and elitist, while the other half defended him, saying that students should respect the kitchen and the craft. At first, I thought it was obvious who was right. The chef was clearly being unreasonable. But then I read more deeply. Some students shared personal stories of dietary restrictions, allergies, and even cultural traditions that made this very customization necessary. And suddenly it hit me. Online arguments thrive on binary thinking. But life and truth are rarely this simple. Suppose a country finds out a new way to make unlimited energy, but it requires destroying a rare ecosystem that has existed for thousands of years, but rather insignificant to our society. Should we do it for the benefit of humanity, or should we protect nature at the cost of progress? What is truly right here? Or are both choices morally complex? Or imagine AI becomes so advanced that it can make military judgments or even legal decisions better than humans. Should we rely on it completely, knowing that it could be more accurate but lacks empathy? Or should humans always remain in control, even if mistakes are made? What is truly right here? If you notice something recurring, these situations aren't clear-cut. There isn't a simple yes or no or right or wrong. And that's exactly the trap of binary thinking. We're forced to want to pick a side and cling to it. But real life, complex life, rarely works this way. And yet, despite knowing all this, we keep falling into the same trap over and over again. Why? Because uncertainty terrifies us. Ambiguity is exhausting. It asks us to think, to feel, to question. And humans, let's be honest, are lazy thinkers by default. So when you go beyond binary thinking, you start to imagine, what is possible? So here's where things get interesting. Once you see the trap of binary thinking, you start to notice how much of life doesn't actually fit inside of it. And philosophy has been yelling this at us for years. Take ethics. People love asking, is this action right or wrong? Sounds like a clear question, right? The second you start poking at it, the whole thing collapses. Because the truth is, questions aren't right or wrong in a vacuum. They depend on consequences, on context, on intentions, and on ripple effects you may not even see yet. Think about lying. Lying is wrong. Simple, right? Until your friend asks if you like their new haircut. Suddenly, lying is not just acceptable, it's mandatory for your survival. And what about history? Galileo was wrong, then he was right. The earth was flat, then it wasn't. Philosophy, science, ethics, they all reveal the same thing. The world doesn't deal in absolutes. It deals in varying possibilities. What's possible changes the entire conversation. Instead of choosing sides, you start creating options. And that's where breakthroughs are born. When you look beyond what you know is right. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the third space. The no man's land where labels dissolve, opposites stop fighting, and where possibility actually begins. History's greatest slaves didn't come from people who played by the rules of right and wrong. They came from people who stepped off the mat entirely. Think of every artist, every innovator, every misfit labeled by society, who looked at the false choice handed to them and said, no thanks, I'll invent a third option. Now let's zoom in on something a bit sneaky, our brains. You see, we like to think we're rational, logical, and open-minded, but quite often our brains are doing the opposite without us even realizing it. Two of the biggest traps are known as the confirmation bias and the Dunning-Kruger effect. Confirmation bias is simple but powerful. It's the way our minds hunt for evidence that confirms what we already believe, while ignoring or dismissing anything that challenges it. Think about it. Maybe you believe pineapple doesn't belong on pizza. Every comment, every meme, every post that agrees with you suddenly feels like proof. While any argument that suggests it's fine, you scroll right past them. And your brain is basically saying, ah yes, you're right, ignore the rest. Sounds harmless, but in real life, this bias makes it hard to see complexity or perspectives beyond your own. Let's try it right now. Think about a topic you feel very strongly about. It could be something political, social, or even just your favorite ice cream. Got it? Okay. Now ask yourself, am I really open to being wrong? Or am I just seeing the evidence that confirms what I already believe? Notice how your mind reacts. That right there is confirmation bias in action. Then, there's the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is when people overestimate their own knowledge or skills, and the less they know, often the more confident they feel. You've probably seen it, someone confidently giving advice on something they've barely understood or went through. Their credibility makes them sound credible, but in reality, they're the least aware of what they don't know. It's not arrogance, it's lack of experience that can backfire in the modern world. Now here's the thing, both of these mental shortcuts fuel binary thinking. They push us to pick a side and cling to it. And the more we follow these shortcuts, the less we stop to ask, what if there is more than one valid perspective? What if I'm missing something important? In essence, our brains aren't lying to us, they're just lazy, wired for simplicity, and addicted to certainty. At the end of the day, history will not remember us for the times that we were right. It will remember us for the moments we were brave enough to face the courage of uncertainty, to stand in the fire of uncertainty, to choose humanity over your own ego and vision over pride. Beyond right and wrong is not comfort, it is risk, it is chaos, and it is everything that the world fears. But it is also where every breakthrough, every act of greatness, and every revolution has ever been born. So if you want to change the world, stop trying to be right, stop being afraid of being wrong, step beyond them both, and dare to do something unforgettable. With that being said, Ladies and gentlemen, beyond right and wrong is where change begins. Thank you.